Emmanuel and Daniela Steiner, you are the winners of the EY Entrepreneur of the Year in the Emerging Entrepreneur category. What does that mean exactly?
Well, I think it means recognition for our vision, recognition of things we have achieved together with our team, recognition for changing how people eat at work, recognition that that's a topic here in Switzerland, and that makes us feel great.
So tell us about Felfel then. This is the business that you guys have created together.
Mm-hmm. So Felfel we started almost 5 years ago now. We've been in the market for 4 years. And the vision was really to change how we eat at work. And it came out of our personal frustration in the office where there were no good food options around in the office. It was expensive, it was inconvenient. And we wanted to really do something about shaping office culture, as in coming together again around lunchtime and not going somewhere over lunch and losing people. And that's how the idea for Felfel was born. And actually not much has changed since that initial idea. And now we serve 300 corporate clients, so they've managed to transform the way their employees can eat in the office.
Okay, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of your clients and things in a moment, but this emerging category, you know, you guys have been around for 5 years and that's still considered an emerging startup, is it?
I guess there's no official definition for startup, but I think right now we're definitely going into a growth type category. We have over 300 clients in Switzerland, over 30,000 people that eat Felfel at their work, many CEOs that can say thank you to their employees by having a Felfel. So we're definitely, not an early stage startup anymore, I would say.
Okay, so just walk me through this because our viewers can see the Felfel fridge behind us, behind you guys, and this is really the whole focal point of the business, isn't it? How does it work?
So it's very, very simple. That's the most important. We place the fridge in the offices of our clients, and the employees can all use their office badge that they use to get in the door or one of our chips. They check in. They can select a product. They can grab a breakfast, a bigemüsli, a yogurt. They can have a salad, soup, or really a full meal that they can grab themselves. And then they scan it out, like you would in a self-checkout, and you press pay, and then it charges it to your own account. So the company really has to do nothing. All they do is give us a space and a power plug, and we take care of the rest.
But to actually install the fridge, I mean, does the company pay to have that installed in their company?
Yeah, so a very important part of the business model is that the company pays a fixed monthly fee, and we then make the food very affordable, because our goal is really for everyone in the company to be able to afford eating Felfel.
So from the intern to the CEO, everybody can afford Felfel. And the special thing is also maybe what comes with it is we have 3 food scouts. They do nothing but develop recipes. They travel around the world to find the best new chefs and then basically change the menu every week. So every week there's 10 different dishes from 10 different chefs that people at the office can try. There's always something vegan, there's meat, there is Swiss cuisine, there's Asian cuisine. So really the goal is to reach everybody. And that's also, I guess, what makes Felfel special is that there's a very high amount of people that we reach. So typically we reach 2/3 of people that work in an office versus maybe more traditional vending machines or other or canteens, for example.
What kind of feedback do you get? I mean, for a small company to kind of stump up something like, was it 2,000 francs to install and have this fridge available to their employees, and of course the employees pay for their own food. Is that a hurdle? Is that an affordable option?
It's extremely affordable. It's the most affordable option that CEOs have right now in Switzerland. And the most important is that the employees themselves get a huge value of the Felfel. Again, they can eat starting with 6 francs. The most expensive ever is 12 francs, but then you really get a heavy meal, everything natural, produced in Switzerland by a Franzoli, by a Giovanni who makes the best Italian food. So I think they really appreciate that value. And it's not just I think the first you see is this sort of functional thing, the fridge and the food that they can take out, but it's much more, there's much more behind it. I would say there is, we have a great customer support team, so if really something is bad, you get your money back in 15 minutes, or if something is too salty maybe, and also like when a company launches, for example, we invite everybody for a free lunch, and that's on us, we pay that. Which is extremely important to us. There is love letters that our service team writes. There's sometimes we go by with gelato in summer. So it's much more than just a fridge. It's really, as Manu said, a lifestyle, a change of culture that we would like to achieve in these companies.
Where did you guys come from? What's your background? You obviously have a love for food.
Exactly. I think that's what connected us, is having this passion for food. But food for us was always a hobby. We cooked at home, and we still do every night. But we actually were in totally different areas. Daniela was in finance, working actually with small companies from an investor standpoint. And I was in consulting, in an office that didn't have food.
Okay, and that's what inspired Felfel. Where does the name come from?
Felfel, it's actually a little homage to Emmanuel's grandmother, who taught him passion for food, which until today is extremely important at Felfel.
It means pepper in Farsi, and I'm half Persian. Yeah.
So, the business, where is it going? You're obviously launching here in Switzerland. What about the future?
There's still a lot to do in Switzerland. Our vision is to free everybody at work from mediocre food. So there's many companies still that have not achieved that. We're very big in Zurich, in Basel. We have a tasting room in Lausanne where companies can book a free tasting to try it out. And I think right now the focus is really Switzerland. Again, there's many companies. Felfel is positioned for companies above 50 people. So also small companies can now afford food. And there's still a couple of thousands, we'd say, that have potential.
So what was it like starting a business here in Switzerland? Was that easy?
It was easier than we expected, I would say. The environment here is actually quite supportive. The suppliers were very open to working with us, as in our partner chefs. The customers were very open from the beginning because the need was there. I think one of the most challenging parts in Switzerland is finding talent, right? That fits into our culture and that has our mindset.
What kind of talent do you look for? Not just chefs, presumably.
Exactly. It's really, I mean, as a business, we actually do quite a bit of different things, and so we need lots of different kinds of talent. Starting from the technology, which we develop all in-house, and technology is, of course, a difficult market to recruit in. Then we have people who manage relationships to our corporate customers, and we don't have traditional salespeople. These are really people that can bring across passion for food and build these relationships. And then we have the support team, we call customer excellence, that manages the relationships to our end customers, to the eaters.
It's not a support team. It's a give joy to people team. I think it's a very important difference, how Felfel differentiates itself also towards the market. But interesting as well is that we heard that a lot of companies now take Felfel to position themselves when they do recruiting. So when they have candidates that they like, they go and show them the Felfel fridge as sort of a fringe benefit for these employees, which apparently is very important today at work.
And when they're, at the job ads, sometimes they'll write, "Oh, we have a Felfel," and they're very, very proud of it.
I mean, would it be fair to say that Felfel isn't just a fridge? It's a way of work. I mean, even just sitting here in your workspace, it's a very different feel to a normal office. How important is that to you?
I think it's extremely important. And think of a CEO, what abilities or what possibility a CEO has to say thank you to his team that is valuable for everybody, right? You can increase the salary, but then what else is there? And Felfel really gives management CEOs an opportunity to say thank you for everybody and to do something for everybody and reach a lot of people. We also have companies that have Felfel because it helps them to digitalize their company. They can show with Felfel, hey, this is a way to do it. And it's not just technology, but I think what we combine very nicely is technology and romance. And I think that's a huge opportunity today.
Let's just pick up on that technology thing, because on one hand, yes, you're a food business, but you're also very much a tech business, right? Because you gather data on what people like, and what does it tell you?
So what is very important is what we promise our companies is that there's food that they want. And so basically what we see is what gets bought at each fridge, so we can restock the fridge every morning to make sure if there's no more birchermuesli, we can restock the birchermuesli it needs. So there's enough birchermuesli, but there's also not too much, because of course there's also the topic of food waste, and that's where we position ourselves, and that's why we need to know what gets bought at each
and do certain parts of Switzerland eat certain things? I mean, what kind of trends do you see?
I think definitely we see trends. We see that the romans, they are typically a bit more, how do you say, risk takers when it comes to chia or the curcuma trend, where the German Swiss, they're maybe a bit more hesitant. Also the Germans like more berries versus the romans like a bit more hazelnuts. So things like these we can see, of course, and we try to then test things out as well, of course.
And then there's other cliches about the Röstigraben, as you call
Sure.
it, that aren't true at all, and we see that in the behavior.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
okay.
Or certain trends, like we had Pokeballs recently that we introduced, and we thought Swiss are not ready for Pokeballs. That's too modern for the Swiss, and really across the board in every kind of company, industrial companies, or production sites, they love it, yeah.
Do you think people are perhaps a bit wary about data gathering? I mean, are you conscious of that?
Absolutely. I think that's a huge topic. That's something that as a company you have to be extremely careful and have to be according to the law. You have to have protection that probably go beyond the law. But absolutely, that's a huge topic also for us, of course.
And does the size of Switzerland help with kind of developing your business? Because I mean, as a startup, you're never going to have a big budget for marketing, for example, and you must rely on word of mouth. And I think that word of mouth is still a huge asset here in Switzerland. I mean, would you agree?
For sure.
Is that?
I think you also see it from our footprint across the country. We started in Zurich, and that's where still maybe 40% of our customers are. And it's not because they're easier for us to drive to. It's simply because we've never done active marketing, so it's entirely through word of mouth. And once we had a nice cluster of clients in the Romandie, then it exploded there as well. So for us, that's been super helpful, having this tight-knit community of and people recommend it to each other either as end customers. So someone writes us a mail with their shots in copy and says, "Hoi Schatz, why don't you try Felfel? We love it here." Or one HR leader tells it to another HR leader when they're at a conference or something. Mm-hmm. And so this is how Felfel has.
One of the things that also makes it very easy is the generosity sort of that we have in our values, that I think also comes from you. Like Manu, every meeting Manu has, it has to be for lunch. Also, if a company is interested in Felfel, we typically invite them here for lunch, or we go to them and we serve them lunch, because it all starts with food. But I think one thing that is very difficult in Switzerland compared to the US, for example, is language. In Switzerland, you're immediately exposed to 4 different languages, which makes some processes
and here we are
extremely
talking
hard.
in a fifth, so
Yes.
for sure. I mean, how do you bridge that?
The Felfel, even depending on your language preference, will respond to you differently. So we even have Romansch Felfel in Graubünden that if you check in, it'll greet you in Romansch. And we really translate everything.
Does that add an extra layer to the challenges of a business, of starting up a business here?
It's just part of doing business in Switzerland, and I think those customers then appreciate it even more, that you're going the extra mile, that in Ticino it's not just in German or French or English, that you go the extra mile to localize and respect the local.
But not just language,
culture.
also our chefs, right? We have people from Geneva, we have people from Lausanne, we have chefs in Schaffhausen, we have beverages from Ticino. It's very important to us to respect all of these
How
different...
does it logistically happen? Like, how do you fill the fridges every day across Switzerland? To me, that seems a huge task.
So very important is that all the food goes through our headquarters, where we can check the quality of the product. So our food scouts, they will test every single batch of every product that arrives to make sure it has enough salt, that it has enough spices. And from here, basically overnight, it goes to all Switzerland. So we work with a third party supplier, and they drive everywhere anyway. And we take it as a lift, basically, and so we can also reach every single little Davos or little village in Lausanne. It doesn't matter. We can come everywhere.
Let's get back to the fact that you've won this Entrepreneur of the Year in the emerging business category. How do you think that will impact your business here?
To us, what's of course very valuable is, this award is something that other leaders in business look at, and those are the people we speak to, because we want to give an opportunity for those leaders to say thank you to their employees. So maybe if we're lucky at the actual event, there may be some people who are like, hey, this is what I've been looking forward to do for my employees. Maybe I'll give them a Christmas present and put a Felfel there. So that's what would be great for us, because we want to reach those people. And
from a business side, of course, it's also interesting to get critical feedback or have interesting discussions to think through strategic things. I think we met a lot of interesting people through this award, which is also extremely helpful.
Why do you think you were successful?
Why?
Yeah, why do you think the judges chose you guys?
I think one element is also the complementarity between the two of us. That's one big advantage we have, is that we each lead half the company. So Daniela runs 4 teams and I run 4 teams, and our skills are very complementary. And I think that's one of the things that we looked at with the judges, and I think that they saw that we can cover a bunch of those things. And the other is, of course, the passion that they felt in the business, because a business like ours, it's not just about an idea. There's lots of ideas, but it's just about daily execution and wanting to get up every day and do our best and try to make whatever we do nice and
it never
as
impacts
possible.
your personal relationship at all?
Oh, every day.
But not in a bad way, I guess, from your laughs and smiles.
No. We are very sort of competitive with each other, and as Manu said, super passion. I think purpose is another very important thing at Felfel. Also, if you talk to the employees, everybody's really driven. We give them a lot of freedom to execute, as you said, and I think that's also very convincing. You can go really deep, and you'll find more and more stories.
Okay. Well, thank you both very much, and congratulations.